Hello, my name is Veronica, and welcome to the Learning Lab, episode number 131. Squeak, squeak, squeal, squeal. I don't know how else to say this, but it is the square rectangle Inkadinkado stamping gear deluxe set. Come on in and let's get started. Okay, to make myself feel better, no, really. I was out doing something, and I said to my son, let's go out to the new Joann's that they opened. So we did. 40% off almost everything in the store, guys. And there was this gear set that I had seen being demoed by Inkadinkado, and I had to have it. So let's open this up. I do love how they will take one of the stamps and then show you what it would look like if you used it. So got some pretty cool ones, really nice. And here on the inside are the two gears, a square, and then I have a rectangle, and then you have your paddle. And what's unique about this is it has two prongs here to get into the corners, and then one here that you can also use with your circle stamps if you got that one. And then over here are some more of the delightful stamps, really pretty. And then you get two other cogs. You get the square, and then you also get a rectangular one. Now, y'all know me, and if you didn't, you're about to find out. I also went ahead and picked up some of the additional stamps that you could get. And this one is called Classic Ornaments. And it has an openness in it that I'm sure you could probably go back and color inside using your color pencils, ink tint pencils, alcohol markers, whatever floats your boat. These are vintage parts. And then the final one is decorative ornaments. And again, in some of the openness, I'm sure you can go back and really, really hook these up. But now, my biggest squeak, squeak, squeal, squeal was this. It's a fern stamp set. Yeah, I got ferns. I've got some leaf stamp sets. Yeah. But they don't look like this. And, okay, been working on my Mother's Day wall hanging mural collage thingies. And then I thought, wow, wouldn't one done with some really soft ferns in the background look super cool? And I was like, yeah. Just looking at that one thinking that would be nice. And then I flipped it and look what was underneath. Talk about a background of all backgrounds. I mean, this is just so delicate and elegant and soft, and I've got to find a way to incorporate this into my collage. And just to think, they had me at this one. And now with this one, you can only imagine my giddiness. For those of you who have the deluxe stamping gear set, it's a bear to get into. So I'm going to have to go away for a minute, rip this thing open, come back and do a little bit of stamping for you. Stay tuned. Okay, so I'm back. I only pulled out the square cog and the paddle because, the rectangle will work very similar. And I'm using the classic ornament stamps. And I've decided to use this particular one and place it on sideways, slightly down from the tip this way or from the tip that way when I use it on here. But I want to start out with just the cog. And I'm using my Big and Juicy Spice Pad only because that's just the one I happen to grab up. And if you've never seen this before, what you do is you want to take this cog and line it up, and then you're going to just press down. And you can get yourself a nice little pattern going if that's what you like by stamping over it. And depending on which one you go into, you're going to get a completely different look. So now with this one, as you can see, I've kind of got a little bordery looking thing going on. If I want to turn the corner on this, I can. And that's the beauty of it, is that you can turn the corner. Now I'm sitting doing this, which is going to make it slightly difficult. Well, not difficult, but interesting for me to get around. The best thing to do is to stand up and move with it. And I'm just starting in the center and then going back to the end on both. Sorry for reaching over. Then for up here, same thing. I'm going to go in the center, which is where I started. Go on the end. I skipped the one next to it. And then I get to go into my corner. And so now I've made this really nice square shape. And as I said, depending on how you stamp it, you can actually go back and color these in. I think that's really very pretty. And so now I'd like to do one using the square shape and just putting it on my, this is just a plain piece of our regular copy paper that I'm using. And this one is coming from the Vintage Parts stamp. It's really pretty. And this time I want to go on the inside. So I'm starting in my upper left. Oh, very pretty. Let's see if I can get in a little tighter on that. Wow. Okay. So I think I'll do all of my corners. And I'm just stamping in different areas of my spice pad. That's awesome. You're really done here. You could take a little die cut and put that in the center and wowzers. Yeah, I like that. Okay. I'll keep going. Just a little bit. I'll stamp one in the center just to see what it looks like. Okay, pretty cool. See if I can turn the whole thing without moving it. Oh yeah, mama. Oh, wowzers. Now I didn't get up and move around on this, so my center's off just slightly, but look at that. Isn't that fantastic? And because this, let me try something. Because this is see-through, I think I could probably marry this up just going around on the outside and continue to build the pattern. And I'm sure if I continued and took my time, I could come up with something really interesting. Okay, that was just me playing, which is what I tend to do. Just kind of playing around to see what you can get. And freehand. Because that's what it's all about. Look at that. Wow. I mean, you can leave this here, but if you don't want it, you know, go in and continue to fill in to cover your pattern. I actually like that little bit of white space that was there. But now look, isn't that fantastic? And that's all your own background. Wow. And that was stamping using the inside of this, and that's where I got my initial design. Now, if you want to go to the outside, again, it's going to be very similar. I think I'll have to go to my base paper here. And just for some variety, I'm going to change and make it a little tight, so I'm putting it closer to the top, and I'm just centering it using the grid because I want a tighter design, so I'm going closer here. If you want looser, larger, go closer to the bottom or opposite from the piece that you're going to put into your stamping gear.
Okay, Mom.
And I am going to start.
I think just you'll say, but that looks different.
Thank you, Zachary. Be quiet.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to start right here on my first corner and go to my other corner. Looks pretty good. And for this pattern, I'm going to stay on the arrow. Wow. Looks good. Okay, turning to the other corner. So starting here, this is kind of large, so it's a little hard for me to get everything in camera. Then I'll work back the other way. And that's with overlapping. I'm going into the arrows only. If you were to look at this, you will see where along here there are markings where there's an arrow. So now I want to show you what it would look like if I stamped an arrow and skipped an arrow. So here's a stamped arrow. I'm going to skip an arrow, go into the next one that doesn't have an arrow. Then I'm going to skip over, and now I'll hit an arrow, skip the next one that doesn't, blank, and then now that brings me around to my corner. So now they are a little more spaced out than they were over here at the top. So turning it for one last time. Don't get dizzy on me yet, please. And what I want to do is stamp where there is not an arrow to show the kind of look that you can get. And that is what will give you a continuous connection around the corner if that's what you're looking for. Here I did not stamp in that spot where there was not an arrow, so you have a slight opening. If you stamp in the arrow, it's just going to continue on around. So let me remove this, and this is big, guys. See if I can zoom out enough so you can see that. You could actually border and frame your entire piece of paper, and you can make it your own. The same thing with if you were using the cog. You could come back, put this in, and now stamp another border going around. Talk about an infinite number of possibilities. This Inkadinkado stamping gear does it for you. So if you haven't picked up yours yet, gotten the round one with the oval and the circle, where have you been? Go out and get it, man. Go get it so we can play together and have some fun with this awesome, fabulous Inkadinkado stamping gear. Thank you for joining me in the lab today. Please be sure to check out my blog at inkalegions.blogspot.com. Until then.